morning or afternoon or whatever time you happen to be watching this. One of the things I love about the last Sunday of the year at The Journey is that we get to slow down and spend a few minutes reflecting on the year together. Hopefully that's after you've slept in and maybe you're still in your pajamas. So before I hand things over to Joel for a short message, I wanted to share a few of our highlights from 2025. Every single number, photo, or even story represents a part of the work that God is doing through The Journey. It's all made possible by God's Spirit at work and each one of you choosing to be on mission with us to reach more people for Jesus. All the way back in January of this year, we celebrated 50 years of The Journey. It was an amazing time where we were able to look back on the prayers of sacrifice and more than that, the faithfulness of the first families who planted the seeds that we are still harvesting 5 decades later. And now, 50 years after The Journey started, there's still nothing that compares with seeing people take the step of surrendering their lives to Jesus and being baptized. This year we celebrated more baptisms than any year before, 42 people. We also completed 2 major building projects designed to open our doors wider, redoing our lobby to create a more welcoming space, and finishing the playground with shade and ADA accessible walkways. These weren't just projects for us. They were intentional steps to make room for more people, to help every guest know that we were thinking about them before they even arrived. And this year we got to welcome 2 incredible additions to our staff family, Emily Gage as our Next Steps Director and Clay Sims as our Journey Teens resident. They've jumped in wholeheartedly and we cannot wait to see what God has in store for them in 2026. There's so much more we could share, but instead of listing everything, we wanted to show you some of our favorite moments that shaped this past year. Snapshots from groups, local outreach, generosity feeds, mobile market, partnerships and counseling, so much more. Everything we do at The Journey, from Sunday morning worship to Journey Kids and Teens, to groups that meet during the week, to every single outreach event, these are all for one purpose, to help more people take their next steps toward Jesus. So as we finish up 2025, we want to say thank you for your generosity that made this mission possible. And as we look ahead to 2026, we are believing God will give us even more opportunities for this church to help more and more people know and follow Jesus right here in Northern Virginia. As we finish up this incredible year, we hope that you will continue to give to our general offering as we prepare for this next year. But we also invite you to give to our Christmas offering. This year's Christmas offering is funding 2 vision-centered initiatives in 2026. And our goal for this offering is $30,000, with half of that, $15,000, going towards our Generosity Feeds event happening on March 15th. If you're new here, this is a Sunday event where we get to package 20,000 meals that go straight back into our community to take a bite out of hunger. It's definitely one of our favorite events and Sundays of the year. And don't worry, more information will come with details in the near future, but part of our Christmas offering is going to go towards that. The other $15,000 of our goal will go to what we're calling the Future Fund. In case you're wondering, this isn't a building expansion fund or even the start of a capital campaign. However, we take seriously the responsibility of having space ready for every single guest who walks through our door and for every person who calls this church their home. But before any possible future land or building decisions can happen, we've got some foundational work that needs to be done. Most of that is county permitting stuff, so please pray for us. This fund simply helps us to start to move forward as we get ready for what God may call us to do next. So no matter whether you finish up the year giving to our general fund or our Christmas offering, or even both, you can do so through our app. Just open up your app and click the Give button. On there, you'll see an option for either a general offering or a Christmas offering fund. Or you can always mail a check to The Journey by December 31st. Again, thank you for being the generous church that you are to help more and more people take those next steps towards Jesus. And now I pass it over to Joel for a quick message.
Back in January, we had our 50th anniversary celebration. And it was an awesome day, some of the most fun I've had as part of this church. And after the celebration, we had this backdrop where people could take pictures, and there's this one picture that stuck with me. It's what I call the OGs. Some of the people in this picture have been a part of the journey for decades. Some of them are not a part of the journey anymore, but have gone on to do great things in ministry in other churches. And part of what I did for the 50th was go through the pictures of the journey from the very beginning to put together a slideshow of the life of the church. So in a couple of weeks, I got this crash course in the history of our church and went through decades of pictures of the life of this community. So I had seen a lot of the people that were posing for that picture through the years as they aged, being a part of the journey. And I had this thought that we are here because of the work and prayers and sacrifice of them, and hundreds of other people who were a part of this church across 50 years. Before the journey, I was at a very young church. My wife and I started. So when I began working here, it took me a while to get used to the idea that I was now a part of a church that had 50 years of history. And my point is this: those of us who are a part of the journey right now, we get to enjoy the fruit of the work and sacrifice of people who came before us. The facilities that we have, the resources we have as a church, the knowledge, relationships, all of that. These are all gifts from God that have come to us through the people that have been a part of the journey through the last 50 years. And the work that we're doing today is building on the foundation that they laid out. And most of these people didn't get to see what the journey is now and the amazing things God is doing in our midst that we just looked at. But God used their faithfulness and their sacrifice to build a foundation that has endured beyond them. There's this passage in the book of Joshua. Towards the end of his life, the people of Israel have entered the promised land, and he's reminding them of what God has done. And this is what he says: I gave you land you had not worked on, and I gave you towns you did not build, the towns where you are now living. I gave you vineyards and olive groves for food, though you did not plant them. So fear the Lord and serve him wholeheartedly. Put away forever the idols of your ancestors worshipped when they lived beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt. Serve the Lord alone. But if you refuse to serve the Lord, then choose today whom you will serve. Would you prefer the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates? Or will it be the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live? But as for me and my family, we will serve the Lord. Joshua is recounting God's faithfulness, and he's saying, God has been faithful to you by allowing you to enjoy the fruit of the work of other people. And then he presents this challenge to the people of Israel. How are you going to respond to that? And Joshua says to them, I don't know about you, but the way I'm going to respond is by serving the Lord. This passage has been in my mind as I think of where we've been as a church and where we're going. 50 plus years of work, and now we're looking into the future. Robin mentioned earlier that part of our Christmas offering is going to something we're calling the Future Fund. And for us, this is about laying the foundation so that we can be prepared for whatever it is that God has for us in the next few years. And county permitting and zoning might not sound like the most attractive thing, but it actually gets me really excited. You know why? Because for me, what that means is that we get to be a part of setting the stage for the next 50 years of this church, just like the people in that picture did years and years ago. We are doing that in all sorts of ways, actually. Next month, we are launching something that I'm really excited about that is called Rooted. It is a 10-week discipleship experience to help people connect with God, purpose, and the church. Check out this short video that will tell you a little bit about it.
Hey everybody, my name is Christian. I am a pastor, and I get to be a part of the global movement and very excited about Mizizi. Mizizi is a Kiswahili word that means roots or rooted. Now, what does that mean for discipleship? It means many times our discipleship is formed out of a heart that is morally restrained, other than radically transformed from the roots. And so Mizizi, or Rooted, gets to take you on a 10-week journey where you connect with God, you connect with the church, and you connect with your purpose for the sake of being radically transformed from the roots. The year was 2008 when a team from Mariners went to my home country in Kenya. And as they went there, they got to sit in a Mizizi class. And as they started observing what was going on, they were just taken aback at the real, honest conversations that were happening in a church. They saw vulnerability, they saw an openness, they saw a hunger. Then they saw people who are not really churched people, but were really engaging in deep spiritual conversations. One of the things that I love is that people get to come as they are, but they don't get to leave rooted as they are. The other thing I love, which is so African, is that we don't just talk about information and just study things and just be told how to think. We're given an opportunity to actually experience it in real life. The experiences make us become who we are. We saw people who were going through Mizizi be so transformed that they decided to be transformative agents of society, meaning that what I go through, my relationship with Jesus, will then result to how I live out my life from Monday through Saturday before I come to church. So, as a church, if you want your people to actually live out their faith in real life, invite them to go through Rooted, because as they go through Rooted, then God transforms their heart, and by so doing, transforms their communities, transforms their cities, and transforms the world.
Rooted launches on January 19, and if you're interested in being a part of it, you can sign up using the link in the description of this video. I believe God is going to use this to lay a spiritual foundation for the lives of many people that is going to have a tremendous impact in the future. The nature of laying a foundation is that a lot of times the person laying the foundation doesn't get to see the ultimate result of that work. We're in such a transient place that some of us are only here 2-3 years. And a lot of times that stops us from investing in where we are right now. And that's not only financially, that's relationally, with our time, with our energy. What's the point of getting involved if I know I'm going to live in a couple of years? Why give to something I might not see come to fruition? Why invest in discipling people who are going to live in 3 years? Why invest time and energy building relationships and community just to start all over again in a few years? And what ends up happening is that we live our lives in a holding pattern, kind of like tourists, never fully committing and never fully investing. But what if Joshua is right? What if all of the good things in our lives right now are gifts from God that come to us through the work and sacrifice of the people that come before us, and we get to enjoy them? This past year, that is the lesson that God's been teaching me by being a part of this church. As I look back at the past 50 years, and I see all that God has done, all the faithfulness He's shown our community, I feel honored that I get to be a part of that story. A story that is larger than myself and that has an impact far beyond anything I could do on my own. That's a story God is inviting us all to be a part of. And that means investment and sacrifice and commitment and involvement today for however long we are here, even if we don't get to see the full impact of what we've done. Because just like Joshua reminds the people of Israel, that's the only proper response to the goodness and faithfulness of God that we have experienced. But what if we lived our whole lives like that? Not just thinking about the next few months or even the next few years, but investing our lives knowing that we are a part of a larger story that has an impact that goes beyond us. What if we approach 2026 like that? Not only here at the journey, but in every facet of our lives. Investing our time, our resources, our energy, our love in the things that will endure beyond us. Even if we don't get to see the full impact of that investment right now. Because we know that one day, maybe years from now, maybe on the other side of eternity, we will get to see the full story of God's faithfulness and how God used the investment of our lives as a part of the larger story of redemption that He's telling. So my brothers and sisters of the journey, may you know that you are a part of a larger story. That today you get to enjoy the fruit of the sacrifice of those who came before you. And may you invest your life on the things that matter most. And may God use that to bless many who will come after you, so that you would leave a legacy that goes beyond you. Grace and peace, and Happy New Year.